The film opens by introducing a 40-year-old man named Dawson. At that moment, he is out in the middle of the ocean, doing his job as an offshore oil driller. While taking a short break and staring up at the stars, a sudden explosion erupts near the oil rig. The blast throws Dawson into the sea, sending him plunging beneath the surface. As he sinks deeper into the water, struggling to breathe, Dawson comes dangerously close to death. In that moment, his mind drifts back to the most beautiful memory of his life. He remembers a time when he was still in high school. As his memories begin to surface, everything he once loved comes rushing back. This is the best of me. One afternoon, he was hanging out with his best friend, Bobby. They were talking casually, and Bobby shared the news that he was about to become a father and would soon get married. While they were talking, Dawson suddenly noticed a girl nearby. Her name was Amanda. For reasons he could not explain, he was instantly drawn to her. He wanted to talk to her, but his introverted nature held him back. In the end, he said nothing, and he and Bobby went home. On the way back, Bobby's car suddenly broke down. Without hesitation, Dawson stepped in to help push it. While doing so, he was surprised when Amanda suddenly appeared and helped push the car as well. Once the car was fixed, Dawson froze. He had no idea how to talk to her, and before he could gather the courage, Amanda was already being picked up by her friend. In his confusion, Dawson awkwardly told her to leave. Bobby immediately scolded him, pointing out how obvious it was that Amanda wanted to talk to him and questioning why he had pushed her away instead. The next scene shows Dawson at his secret place, an old water tank where he often went to be alone. It was a quiet place where he could think, study, and escape from the world. Dawson had a strong interest in physics, and he often spent his time there, reading and learning on his own. Later at school, Dawson was reading a physics book as usual when he noticed Amanda struggling with something. He approached her and realized her car had broken down again. Using his mechanical skills and love for physics, he managed to fix it, and the car started working once more. Dawson, still awkward around women, became nervous. He admitted that his friend Bobby had called him stupid for not knowing how to talk to her. Amanda teased him playfully, saying he really was a bit foolish. In truth, she had been waiting for him to ask her out. Tired of waiting, she finally took the initiative and asked Dawson out for a date that Saturday. Dawson agreed, and they went their separate ways.
Saturday night at 6?
Yeah.
Later that day, Dawson returned home. His father asked him to go out with him that Saturday night, but Dawson refused because he already had plans with Amanda. This angered his father, who responded by slapping him. It is revealed that Dawson grew up in poverty. His mother had passed away, and he lived alone with his father. His father was a local thug, involved in dirty work such as drug dealing and violence. Dawson was a kind-hearted person who never wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. His father constantly pressured him and often abused him whenever Dawson refused to take part in his dirty work. Unable to endure it any longer, Dawson finally ran away from home. With nowhere to go, he wandered aimlessly until he found an empty warehouse. With no other option, he went inside and fell asleep there. When he woke up, Dawson was shocked to find a man pointing a gun at him. The man was the owner of the warehouse, a man named Tuck. At first, Tuck was furious that someone had broken in. He demanded to know who Dawson's parents were. After learning that Dawson's father was a violent criminal and seeing the bruises on Dawson's face, Tuck began to feel sympathy for him. From that moment on, he allowed Dawson to stay in the warehouse. The story then returns to the present. Dawson had survived the accident at sea, but his life felt empty. Day after day, he lived without purpose. Even at 40 years old, he remained alone, choosing not to build a family. One day, he received a phone call that changed everything. He was told that Tuck had passed away, and that he was asked to attend the funeral since Tuck had no family and had left his belongings to Dawson. The next day, Dawson arrived at the funeral. There, he was shocked to see Amanda. They had not seen each other for nearly 20 years. The story shifts back to the past. At that time, Dawson had been living at Tuck's warehouse for several days. Feeling guilty for staying there, he helped fix Tuck's cars whenever he could. Then Saturday arrived, the day he was supposed to meet Amanda. Instead of going, Dawson chose not to show up. Amanda, who had been waiting, grew upset. Bobby was there as well, and when Amanda found out where Dawson was, she went straight to him. When she arrived, Amanda scolded him for breaking his promise. Dawson, being introverted, could only stay silent. He explained that he did not like crowded places. Eventually, he took Amanda to his secret spot, where they spent time together under the stars. The next day, Dawson was caught by his father once again. His father attacked him without hesitation. Suddenly, Tuck arrived and stepped in, pointing a gun at Dawson's father until he backed off.
You want me to to keep going?
The following day, Dawson went to Amanda's house and asked her to stay away from him. He was afraid his father would hurt her. But Amanda, who truly loved him, refused to leave his side. From that moment on, they spent more time together. Amanda often visited Tuck's place as well. Living alone after losing his wife and child, Tuck found happiness again through their presence. One day, Tuck gave Dawson and Amanda a house near the lake, a place where they could spend time together in peace. As the days passed, their bond grew stronger. Then, on Amanda's birthday, Dawson came to her home to celebrate with her family. It was there that he learned her family was wealthy. Amanda's father later asked Dawson to speak with him privately. After learning that Dawson was the son of a criminal, he offered him money and a college scholarship on one condition, that he stay away from Amanda. Dawson, who truly loved her, refused the offer and walked away from the party. The story then returns to the present. It turns out Amanda had also come back to town after being contacted by Tuck's lawyer. There, she and Dawson were told that Tuck had left them a house by the lake. The next day, they went there together and spent a long time talking, catching up after 20 years apart. During dinner, Amanda, who was still as talkative as ever, shared stories about her life. She talked about how she was married and had 2 children. She then asked about Dawson's life. He admitted that he was still single. Amanda wondered if he ever felt lonely. Dawson smiled and said that the last time he truly fell in love was 20 years ago. He admitted that he had never stopped loving her. He had only stopped showing it. Amanda thought he was joking, but he was telling the truth. The story shifts back to the past, to the moment when Dawson was furious after being rejected by Amanda's father. Amanda came to him and told him not to listen to her father's words. They decided to stay together no matter what. The next day, during Bobby's wedding, Dawson took photos with Bobby and his wife. At the same time, Tuck was guarding the house when Dawson's father suddenly attacked him. When Dawson found out, he was consumed by anger. Having reached his limit, he grabbed a gun and went after his father. Bobby tried to stop him, but Dawson pushed forward. He pointed the gun but could not bring himself to pull the trigger. His father then grabbed the weapon, and in the struggle, it went off. The bullet struck Bobby in the head, killing him instantly. Dawson was devastated while his father cruelly laughed. Both of them were taken to the police station. Tuck later visited Dawson and tried to convince him that he was not at fault, that his father was the one responsible. Still, Dawson blamed himself. In the end, both Dawson and his father were sentenced to 8 years in prison. After learning that Dawson was imprisoned, Amanda visited him every day. Over time, Dawson began to believe that he was no longer worthy of her. One day, he asked her what she would say if this were their last meeting. Amanda begged him not to push her away, but Dawson stood firm. To him, love was not about possession, but about letting go. He believed he was unworthy of her, because he was nothing more than a poor prisoner. From that moment on, Dawson refused to see her again. Even so, Amanda kept coming to the prison every day. Dawson continued to refuse her visits, and even the guards felt sorry for her persistence. After months of trying, Amanda finally stopped coming. That became their last meeting for the next 20 years. The story returns to the present. Amanda, who has been holding in her emotions for years, finally asked Dawson why he left her 20 years ago. Dawson admits that he never felt worthy of standing beside her. Amanda grows even more emotional because deep down, she has always loved him. To her, Dawson was always the right man. Even after getting married, she still believed he was better than the man she chose. But once again, Dawson had disappeared from her life for 2 decades. That was where their conversation finally ended. On their last day together, Dawson knew that Amanda still loved him, just as he still loved her. Yet he also knew he could not ask her to return to him. She was now a wife and a mother of 2, and he believed her life no longer belonged with him. In the end, they both went back to their own lives. Dawson was filled with regret, constantly blaming himself for not meeting Amanda 20 years earlier. Still, he knew he had to let her go, and that was how they truly parted. At home, Amanda felt completely unsettled. She finally chose to be honest with her husband and admitted that she still loved Dawson. However, her husband, who was always busy, dismissed her feelings and paid little attention to what she said. Not long after that, Amanda's son suffered heart failure due to an accident. She rushed to the hospital in complete shock. With her husband emotionally distant, she had no one to lean on. In desperation, she called Dawson and they planned to meet again. Dawson agreed to see her, but before they could meet, tragedy struck. Dawson was suddenly shot by his own father and died on the spot. The cruelty of it was unimaginable. The next day, Amanda was informed that Dawson had passed away. She was devastated, yet once again forced to let him go. Thankfully, her son received a heart transplant and survived. Years later, it was revealed that the heart donated to her son belonged to Dawson. And that is where the story ends. So the moral of the story is sometimes the deepest love is lost, not because it fades, but because fear and timing steal it away before it ever has a chance to live.